one of the great shooters in basketball history, Steve Smith, working for Turner Sports. He and Brian Anderson will be calling the Philadelphia Regional on Friday, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Indiana. How about that back-to-back? TBS, where the Final Four regional semis, national title game, April 2nd and 4th from Houston. Game coverage continues Thursday on CBS and TBS. Steve called Syracuse over Middle Tennessee State, Wisconsin over Xavier, and he had to sit there and call the game. His alma mater, Michigan State, got shocked by Middle Tennessee State. Let me start there, Steve. By the way, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dan. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Now, here's your alma mater. A lot of people think Michigan State's going to the finals, going to win it, and you're watching them go down in flames against Middle Tennessee State. How tough was it to stay neutral, which I think you did a great job doing?
Thanks, Dan. It was very tough. Obviously, that's why they call it March Madness. To watch the Spartans, and obviously if I was at home, I'd have been throwing stuff and breaking windows. But, hey, you had to be a professional, so it was one of the toughest calls I ever had. But I really enjoyed watching Middle Tennessee, the way they play. Kermit Davis is a fantastic coach. They were well prepared. And, Dan, it was one of those games we've had, these games where they's upset. I mean, Middle Tennessee played well. Michigan State played well. It was a game that you never felt like they were overmatched. They came in and had a game plan, and they executed it.
At this time of the year, though, that was crazy this weekend. Crazy. Why?
I think now there's so much parity, and I think right now, I think different from when I played, Dan, I know I was a 1 seed playing against Murray State. I had heard of Popeye Jones. We saw this VHS, barely could see it. I saw a couple games, and I almost went down to Popeye Jones and Murray State. So I think it was now you get a chance. I mean, there's so much technology, so much film, and so many of these kids get a chance to see each other. I mean, they play AAU now and youth sports where all over the country they've been knowing each other's games, and had recognition of each other since 6th grade, 7th grade. So I think it's totally different. But I think also give a lot of these coaches credit that these mid-majors, these teams are formulating teams. And I think, Dan, when you look at it, the powerhouses, most of those teams, they have one and dones. You have the Murray State back when I played, the Middle Tennessee. Those are 5, 6, 7 seniors on their team. When you have guys been together, it's hard to beat a group of guys that's been together and played together.
More impressive, A&M's comeback against Northern Iowa or Reggie Miller scoring against the Knicks when he scored, 8 points in 9 seconds?
You know what? I would got to go with Reggie because of the stakes, but just give A&M a lot of credit. I didn't get a chance to see that game because we were at our region, and just hearing about it, I said, wow, down goes another high seed in Texas A&M, and then all of a sudden on the scoreboard, you see Texas A&M wins. It's been phenomenal, Dan. It's just been a whirlwind to just see throughout all your social media, your text messages now that people are talking about how many different upsets are going on.
There was the Steph Curry in effect at the end of the Wisconsin Xavier game. Bronson Koenig said, look, I was channeling my Steph Curry. Are you seeing more of that feeling of guys trying to play like Steph Curry? I mean, is it noticeable?
Yeah, for sure. I think at all levels. I'm seeing it at the youth level with my son. I'm seeing it at the high school level. You're seeing it, like you said, in college. We saw that with Bronson Koenig, and even more guys at the NBA level. It's changed. Guys are shooting jump shots, and not only jump shots jump shots from deep range. I think what's changed, Dan, in my era, in your era, if a kid or a professional would have took some of these shots, you'd definitely be subbed. I think coaches have changed. They adapt. They're now looking at this and saying it's a good shot where it was a bad shot when you made shots like that back in the day. So things have changed. The evolution of the game is changing, and Stephen Curry has a new way to play the game.
You still have the big schools involved, though. We were looking for who is the feel-good story, because there always seems to be that one school that invites itself to the Sweet 16. Syracuse, Gonzaga, are those feel-good stories? Because they're always in the tournament and usually going this deep.
Yeah, they are. I think Syracuse is a story in itself where people didn't think Syracuse should have been invited to the dance. And then now you can see Jim Boeheim with his squad and the way they're playing, they have a chance to even go further than that. I mean, the 2-3 zone is something that you having a hard time to match up. So to have Syracuse, a powerhouse team, like you said, people really saying they shouldn't be there, and they proved now Sweet 16, and obviously they could go further. So looking at it, I think some of these big schools now usually have some of the Cinderella schools, but so far right now, some of these big schools are the story.
I'll leave you with this. The one-and-done rule's impact on college basketball right now in the tournament. Has it been good for basketball or bad that we get to see these kids for 1 year?
Well, I think as a fan, if you're just looking at it as a fan standpoint, Dan, I think it's been bad. I think for a lot of times you want to get a chance to see these players. You've grown attached to players. I know when I was growing up, watching players, you get the chance to see them for at least 3 to 4 years now. It doesn't seem like they're that entrenched with the college game. Is almost feeling like it's a professional, it's a business. But I think also, but for individually, there's some opportunities. The rules are what they are, and the kid under the rules thinks he's ready to go after 1 year. Then I don't think people should come out against the kid. I think we should all talk about the rule versus sometimes people going at the kid.
Were you ready to go after your freshman year?
Dan, I wasn't ready to go after my senior year. I think the point for me, Dan, I will say, I tell people the hardest part was at every level. I think, when I got a chance to go to professional level, practicing against pros, but I think more time management, Dan. You go to class from 8 to 12, you practice from 3 to 6. But when you're a professional, you practice for, 10 to 12, and the rest of the day is yours. And that was a tough transition coming from Michigan and being drafted from Miami, being able to have that transition. That was all off the court for me, and some of it was on the court, but that was a tough transition.
Breaking news, I don't know if you're ready for this. Ben Simmons announcing that he's going pro. Who saw that coming?
I didn't see that coming.
Yep. What do you think?
He's special talent, and rightfully so. I mean, whether he goes 1, 2, 3, or 4, I don't think he's going no lower than 4. He's ready to play at the next level. I think right now, a lot of times there is also people ask me the question a lot of times, can they play at the next level? Well, sometimes they're drafted on potential. He has a skill set at his size, and the right play, if you put the basketball in his hand, he makes plays. So I think he's ready to go to the next level.
Good to talk to you, Steve. Have fun in Philadelphia, Notre Dame, Wisconsin, and North Carolina, Indiana. Great to talk to you again.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. That's
appreciate it.
Steve Smith. He was a great shooter at Michigan State.